Welcome to A1R Psychic Radio here on Moonstruck TV with Amanda Hall Psychic. Well, isn't it an exciting week? The week after Halloween, everybody's complaining about they've gained a little bit of weight after eating so much candy. And, you know, here in Australia, we had our typical thunderstorm on Halloween night, so we didn't have too many little people. So I have too much candy left over in my house that I might have to go searching the streets for some little people to give it to. Anyway, so whatever you did on Halloween, I'm sure you had a good time and you're sort of, gearing up ready for the end of the year. You know, we've got Thanksgiving coming up in the Northern Hemisphere. We don't celebrate that in the Southern Hemisphere, but then we have Christmas and all the fun that goes with that. So it's an exciting time of the year. So this week, the Simply Tarot card of the week is the Wheel of Fortune. Now, the Wheel of Fortune is one of those ambiguous sort of cards. People look at this and say, oh, you terrific. You know, I'm going to get elevation in money. We could all do with that. We can all sort of spend more money. If we had more money, we'd spend it. That's for sure. For some people, it's an overseas trip, and for other people, it's completion phases. So it's one of those cards that you have to look at, how does this actually fit into your life? Are you the sort of person that's looking for some elevation in money? Well, that's all of us, but not that many of us are going to be taking an overseas trip in the next couple of weeks. So that sort of is a very limited audience there that will be taking an overseas trip. And for most of us, it's more about completion phases. It's about bringing things to a completion. Things that we've been working on for some time now are now coming to an end. That it's sort of like, not always do we get the answers that we want, or not always do we get the completion that we want, but things are coming to a close so that we can start to work on a new journey. And if we don't bring some things to completion, then we don't have room for new things to be coming into our lives as well. So it's an interesting card as we head towards the final quarter of the year, showing us that we need to be bringing in some completion phases. Well, this week, astrologically, it's a big week. I've been saying that for a long time now. I sound a little bit like a broken record, but it has been a big week astrologically. We've still got the sun in Scorpio, so happy birthday to all the Scorpions. And I know that there's lots of famous Scorpio people out there. Prince Charles is one that springs to mind, that a lot of people sort of look at Scorpios and sort of give them a bad press. They say, oh, they're grumpy, they're this, they're that, and the other. Yeah, they can be all that. It's okay, every other sign be grumpy. The Scorpio energy is about what I term as frozen water. It's like a block of ice. It thaws, it refreezes, it thaws, it refreezes. And sometimes they need to sort of go under the crevices to sort of, take themselves down under the crevices and sort out what it is that is emotionally going on in their lives, or the things that they need to sort out. And it's not that they're trying to avoid an issue or trying to ghost you, as the modern term is today, or just ignore you. It's more about them trying to come to terms with the very, very intense emotional energy that they're experiencing and their very, very deep thoughts. While they sort of process that and sort it out, they need to sort of go away and have some quiet time, to have some alone time. And, the Scorpion is like the Scorpion in real life. They do have a sting in their tail. Watch out if you hurt them, because you will get stung, and they will react and they will respond, and they will respond in not necessarily always a nice way. They have a real sting in their tail. They can be very, very short when it comes to conversations. One of my favourite sayings is they have razor blades for breakfast. They can cut people down to size, and particularly if you have Mercury in Scorpio. So just be aware of that. They're very intense, very loyal, very devoted people, but watch out if you tread on their toes, or you hurt them, or you deceive them in some way, you will get the wrath of the Scorpio tail. So, but, most of all, they're nice people. They're very genuine sort of people. There's different layers to all the different star signs. To me, there's a beginning point, there's a middle bit, and then there's, the elite bit or the end bit, where they've been Scorpio many, many lifetimes, where they really sort of do understand the depth and the degree of the Scorpio energy. And it's something that has to be layered over many, many lifetimes. And when they get to that point, I think they have a different understanding or a different wisdom than a lot of the other signs don't have, is that they can do it in a quiet, articulate sort of way, but at the same time with such power and such magnetism and such depth that people sort of aren't even really aware that they're so in awe of these people. They just feel comfortable with them. So, for the beginning point of the Scorpio energy, sometimes it brings out that very jealous and possessive sort of streak that a lot of times gets bad press with the Scorpio energy, that they're known to be jealous and possessive and, quite aggressive and sometimes quite nasty. And yes, they can be all of those things, but they can also be the biggest sweethearts on the planet too. So don't give all the Scorpios bad press. Look at them in a different light and say, hang on a minute, we're all a combination of many things that make us up. Let's not just focus on the not so good points. So we have Mars, the planet of action, is conjunct or holding hands Mercury. Now, they're both sitting in Sagittarius. Now, what this means is for particularly the fire signs, which is Sagittarius, Aries, Leo, and the opposite side of Gemini, it's going to be a time of tremendous action. So you're going to find with this energy here with Mars, it can be positive or it can be negative. You can get very aggressive, you can get very angry, you can get very short-tempered, very frustrated with yourself if things aren't going the way that you want them to. Try and turn that anger or that intense energy into something positive. Channel it into that you can move mountains, that you can change many things at the moment. Now, be aware with it conjunct or holding hands Mercury, the planet of communication, that we are talking about communication here as well. So be very careful at the way you communicate. Don't always be angry or aggressive or cranky when you're trying to communicate or get your point across with someone. Yes, you might be in pain. Yes, you might be frustrated. Yes, you might be running out of time. There might be 1,001 reasons why you're feeling quite frustrated, and the negative side of the Aries of the Mars energy is coming out. But let's sort of try and temper that down and try and channel it into, okay, I've got an opportunity here to get my message across, to get my point across. Let's try and do it in a forthright way, in a way that sort of helps other people, in a way that sort of gets my message across in a very definite, direct sort of way with some enthusiasm that shows them I mean business. Now, this is a great time if you want to sort of go and talk to somebody or sell an idea to them, provided you make sure that you do it in a calm sort of way. Don't go in there all guns a-blazing and aggressive and sort of, I'm telling you that this is right for you and this is the only way that things can be. Come in a very forthright sort of manner and showing them the reasons why this would work or how this can work and why it's such a great idea. And, you can achieve a lot at this time. The same can be said for personal relationships. If there's issues there that need to be sorted out on a personal level, whether it's family or whether it's, a relationship, make sure that you articulate your conversations, that you don't come across as being bossy or bombastic, and make sure that you take the time to listen to the other person's point of view. This energy will wash over the other 8 signs. It won't be quite as intense with the others, but it's still there. So you've got to make sure that you're not necessarily rubbing somebody up the wrong way. And it's really hard when you've got something to say and you're very passionate about it, and sometimes we forget to add a little bit of softness or a little bit of sweetness there as well. And it's really, really important that we do so, and particularly in important conversations. Now we have Saturn, the planet of discipline and restriction, which is still going retrograde and will be for a little bit of time yet, is conjunct or holding hands with Neptune, that's also going retrograde. Now both of these planets have slipped back into Pisces. Now what this means is it's particularly for the water signs, so we're focusing on Pisces, Cancer, and Scorpio, and the opposite sign of Virgo, but it will wash over the remaining 8 signs. So Saturn is asking them here to make sure that they've got all their ducks in a row. Everything that you've been working on, the things that you've been trying to bring to a conclusion, particularly on a creative front or on a mental health issue or something that has been sort of driving you nuts for a while. Remember, the Pisces energy is about creativity. It's about, the ability to, I believe, encompass all the previous 11 signs into one. It's sort of, we have the ability to sort of tap into many different resources. Now, this can make you very creative. You can be a great writer, a great artist, great with, social media, graphic design, anything like that, anything that needs a creative flair. And that brings in baking and making cakes and, painting a picture or painting a picture with words. And, look, I bring that creativity hat into anybody that's got to write something or perform in some sort of way, which most of us do in our day-to-day lives and we don't realise it. We are all performing on a stage and we are all putting things together. Whether you're writing a post for your social media, that's a form of creativity, or whether you're creatively trying to decide what the evening meal's going to be, you've got to put your creative hat on and see what you got in the cupboard and the fridge and how much time have I got and what do I really feel like eating. So that's, again, being creative. I know that's taking it to the extreme, but what I'm trying to explain to you is that we all use creativity most of the day. We just don't realise it. We just don't put that label on it. We think of, well, I'm not a songwriter, I'm not a poet, I don't make television, so therefore I'm not creative. But we are all creative in our own way. Now, with Saturn here, he's asking us to be disciplined and structured and make sure that we're dotting the I's, crossing the T's, making sure everything is done to the best of our ability. And also that brings in, I want to touch a little bit about our mental health. A lot of things in the media about people struggling with mental health, and there's more mental health issues than what there ever was. Maybe that's true, maybe it's not, maybe we're just more aware of it and we're recognizing it and not putting such a nasty label on it anymore, that we're allowing people to say, hey, I'm not having a great day, or I'm not in a great headspace at the moment, I'm really struggling, I need some help, I need some time out. So Saturn here is asking you to make sure that you look after yourself in that way too. If you are struggling, if you are feeling overwhelmed, put your hand up, get some help, say something to somebody. Don't just struggle along on your own. It's the time to reach out and get some very much needed help. Now, with the conjunction here with Neptune, Neptune is the planet of illusion and delusion, but Neptune is also the planet of creativity. So it's really enhancing that creative side. And it's also telling us that we can also come out of a very, very dark fog into the light. So things are sort of certainly starting to improve, and things are starting to take shape in a way that we couldn't begin to see before. Now, we have Jupiter, the planet of expansion and opportunities, in the last couple of degrees of Cancer. Now, Jupiter has recently been going retrograde. It's now stationary, ready to go direct again. I have lots of Cancer clients that are saying to me that they don't know what's wrong with them. One minute they're doing one thing, the next minute they're jumping to something else. They don't seem to be able to find a little bit of middle ground. And this is probably why, because even though Jupiter's been in their sign near on 12 months now, they still don't feel comfortable with Jupiter pushing, poking and prodding at them and asking them to take on board new experiences and new opportunities. Cancers like to walk sideways. They don't like to go direct. They like to go sideways to get where they're going, and they need to do it in their own pace. And when someone's trying to push them, they don't particularly like that. So, it's been a very exciting time for some Cancers where they've really utilized this energy and sort of, gone ahead in leaps and bounds. And for others, they've fought it every step of the way. And for some have just sort of taken the middle ground, a few steps forward and sort of taken it very steady, but, no real great progress. But, in their world, they've made a lot of progress, and that's fine. Whatever's worked for you, if you are a Cancer, that's fine. We are talking about all the water signs here. We are talking about Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, and the opposite sign of Capricorn here. So some Capricorns have been sort of feeling as if they've, wanted to take some giant leaps forward, and then they sort of think, oh no, I can't afford to do that at this time, or the timing's wrong, or whatever. So to make sure that you get in and achieve what you need to achieve in this next couple of months before the energy shifts into Leo. Finally, I want to talk about Venus. Venus is in Libra at the moment, and Venus, for any particular sign that's looking for love at the moment, make sure you go somewhere where it's pretty, it's nice, it's something that's bright and bubbly and it's got a nice energy about it. Don't go to the dark, dingy sort of places. I'm not saying necessarily don't go to a nightclub, but what I'm saying is we need to get out amongst the people. We need to get out where things are feeling bright and breezy and happy and exciting and getting part of the festivities. So if you're looking for love, no matter what your sign is, get out and about, mingle with people, and that way you'll have more chance of meeting someone special. So we're going to take our first caller, which is Ellen in Middle Island in New York in the USA. Are you there, Ellen?
Yes, my name's
Eileen. I beg your pardon. Sorry, Eileen, I didn't put my glasses on. I apologise. How are you, Eileen? How can I help you?
Good. I just wanted some insight regarding my health. If I had some issues, trying to be proactive, not sure if I'm on the right path. So I'd appreciate any insight on that.
Okay. All right, Eileen. It's really interesting because different laws in different jurisdictions suggest that we can't tackle health issues because we're not medical practitioners, but I can look at it on an energetic level for you. And what I'm picking up on an energetic level is that you've come so far and it's now like we've hit a plateau. Now, I don't want you to be disappointed that, we made so much progress and now it's sort of like we flatlined. This is necessary because you now need to let everything sort of settle. And by everything sort of settling, I think we're going to start to see what the next round of things is that you need to do. It's interesting because I'm not going to say that your physical ailments are caused by emotions, which a lot of people do. Yes, I'm sure they play some role in it, but to me, this has been your body telling you that things aren't right, that you've had to make some very serious changes in your life to modify things to allow your body to rest and catch up. Does that make sense?
Not really.
Well, that's what they're showing me on an energetic level, that your body had to rest and catch up, that the things that you've done, the procedures or whatever the directions you've taken
Hmm.
have been necessary. But now we've got to let them sort of do their magic, do their work, so that then we can take the next step forward. I'm sort of seeing by the end of this year, you're going to be feeling a lot better than you have been for a long time, and that's good. So, is part of the problem
Okay.
your body not cooperating the way that you feel it should? Like in movement?
Yes.
Yeah, because that's what they're showing me, and that's why they were showing me that whatever you've done to date, it's not that it hasn't worked. We've got to give it time for your body to reprogram itself and understand it and catch up, and then sort of say, right, well, then we're ready for the next layer. So it's not that you've done anything wrong. I want to be very clear on that. But sometimes I think we get impatient as being human beings. Well, we think, well, I've done that. That should be working by now. And we're not giving it enough
Mhm.
time to really work. You know what I mean? We're expecting it to work instantaneously instead of it being a process. And that's what I think you need
Okay.
to understand, is that your body is catching up with everything that you've done. You haven't necessarily done the wrong thing, but you will find some new ways there where we can get your body moving better. And maybe it's just one of those things where you needed to slow down a little bit too. You know, sometimes we don't understand why our body's not cooperating the way that we want it to, because we need to slow down a little bit, that we're maybe a little bit ahead of where we need to be in our journey. So I know you're going to get better. I don't know that you're necessarily going to get 100%, but I do feel that you will get, each day there's a little bit more progress than what there was the day before. So with the medical side of things, that the doctors and that you've seen, have they given you anything really concrete to say this is what you need to do, or have they been vague?
Mhm. Not really. I feel like I've sort of been on my own, trying to figure things
Yes.
out. But I do have an appointment next week, and hopefully that'll,
Well,
bring some insight to me.
well, fingers crossed it will, because to me, what I sort of felt so far was, it was like if we put it on a scale of 1 to 100, it's like I got a 10 or maybe a 15, but I never got an 85%. You know, like I never really got great answers that sort of gave me, that felt right, you know, that you could see that yes, that could
Right.
work, or that's, you know, we've hit it on the head. You've got to start listening to what your instincts are telling you to. If you've got a good feeling about your next appointment, then let's go in there with that anticipation that it's going to be good. You know, sometimes, you know, we've got to
Right.
shop around. It's like to find the right person that understands what we're trying to say. You know, like you don't go out and buy the first
Right.
dress you see and it's perfect. So it's the same with medical stuff. We've got to look and find the right person that understands us and gets what we're talking about, not just what they've learned in, you know, in their training, but really listens. And that's where I think you're going to get some great progress. But I know you're going to get better.
Okay.
And that's the main
Oh,
thing.
good. That's good to hear. Good. And do
That's
you
what I've got.
give any messages from? Oh, am I still
Um,
on?
no, there's no messages coming through. If there was, I would have passed them on to you. They're just, you know, the most important thing at the moment is to listen to your own inner voice. They're giving you messages while you're sleeping, and they're helping you. They're constantly there with you, giving you the guidance that you need. So that's what you need to remember. Okay, sweetie, it was lovely to
Okay.
talk to you. We're going to talk with Loretta now in Dayton in Ohio. Are you there, Loretta?
Yes, I'm here.
Do you have a question I can answer for you, please, sweetie?
I was I'm having some issues with my daughter and being able to. I just want to see where it's going to go with my daughter and my granddaughter.
Okay. Do you mind sharing with me your daughter's first initial, please, sweetie?
It's L.
L, okay. Just want to make sure I tune into the right person. So she's angry. Look, I get a real sort of frustrating sort of energy around your daughter. She's angry. She's not angry with you as such. I think she's angry with the world. Why do I feel that she only tells you what she thinks you need to hear or what you want to hear, and not necessarily the whole truth or the whole picture? Is that how you see the situation?
Yes.
Yeah, because that's what
Definitely.
I'm picking up. To me, it's sort of like I'll give you an edited version of what I think you can handle or what you should know. I won't necessarily tell you the whole thing. Um, there has been a lot of tears around her. There's been a lot of frustration sitting there as well. Has there just been a recent relationship breakup that you know of?
Not that I'm aware of. We're not in any kind of good kind of communication.
No, I didn't feel you were, but okay. All right. You will hear through a third party that the relationship that she was in is either just broken up or about to break up or something. There's a major breakthrough coming here, because I feel that the current relationship that she was in is coming to an end, and this is going to be a good thing. It's not going to be straight away she going to contact you and sort of try and make amends with you and get back into the family good graces, but it will, over time, she will start to sort of soften a little bit and start to see that maybe some of the things that the two of you disagreed on, that you weren't necessarily wrong. She'll never admit that, of course, but she's starting to sort of see things through a different way. Let me assure you, your granddaughter is perfectly fine. She's bouncing around all over the place. She's got lovely energy, your granddaughter. She's got more of you in her than she has a mum. But I do feel by the end of this year, your daughter will reach out to you, even if it's only very briefly. And even if she's a little bit cranky at the time, just sidestep that. Just be thankful that she's reached out and sort of try and establish some sort of connection again, even if she's cranky and sort of says, well, you've never really loved me, and don't answer that, just sort of say, well, how can I help you today? What did you phone me for? What do sort of try and sort of sidestep any nastiness, because that's her way. The only way she knows how to behave is to be nasty, because she's been in a very toxic relationship, and this is the residue of that. But I do feel slowly over time, Loretta, you and your daughter will become close again, and I wouldn't be at all surprised to see in the next 6 months her move closer back to you and bring your granddaughter back towards you too, which will be lovely.
Absolutely. So you don't see my granddaughter. Do you just see her now, or is it present time right now is when you see her?
Yeah, I mean, I just saw you, because children are something that we have to very carefully make sure that we don't tap into too much of their energy, because they still need to remain children. But her energy was clean, was good. She was happy, she was bright, she was bubbly. Considering the situation that she's been brought up in, I thought that was remarkable, that she's still such a bright, happy, well-balanced little girl, considering a mother seems to tend to like to get herself into toxic relationships and doesn't seem to have any common sense in a lot of things that she's done in her life. But that's your daughter just being rebellious. I feel a lot of that is going to sort of fall by the wayside, and she's not necessarily going to try and fight the world anymore. She's going to start to sort of look at things and think, well, hang on a minute, maybe I shouldn't go that way. Maybe I should go another way. Maybe these were the lessons that she had to learn, that she came here to learn before the secondary part of her life kicks in, where she's a lot more stable, a lot happier in herself, and things are more what we would consider normal, and she's going to attract better people in her life than what she's done. But your daughter came into this world with an anger inside her, and even as a little girl, I think she used to get frustrated and angry with things, didn't she?
Yes.
Yeah, and that's nothing that you did wrong. I want to be very clear on that, Loretta. She was born that way. We all come into this life with past life residue or, things that we've got to pay back, things that we've got to sort through, and your daughter came in with that, and she came in angry, and, for whatever reason, she chose you as a mother, and then she seems to have taken it out on you over the years. But that's all about to change, and that's slowly going to disappear, and you will end up with an amazing relationship with your daughter that only that you could have ever have dreamed of, that the two of you will end up being super, super close and, like girlfriends. But at this point, all as you can see is there's no contact. She doesn't, she wouldn't even take your call if you reached out to her. I don't think. She'd just sort of block it. So you've just got to wait for her to come to you, sweetie, as hard as that might be. But I know your granddaughter is an amazing old soul. She's going to do really well in her lifetime, and she's very, very close to you, even though you might have as much time with her as you would like. There's a bond there that can't be broken between you and your granddaughter. So I hope that's helped you, Gladys. Loretta. I don't know why I keep going to call you Gladys.
Gladys.
So anyway.
I don't know a Gladys.
No, it may not be anything in particular. It was just I went to call you that a couple of times, but I know your daughter's going to reach out when you least expect it, and she's not very pleasant. But, I want you to sidestep that and not look at her not being pleasant. Just sort of, try and be kind and open and sort of say, well, you must have had a reason why you phoned me. You didn't just phone to tell me off. You phoned me because you wanted something, or you needed something, or, how can I help you? And take it from there. So I hope that's helped you, sweetie.
It does.
Anyway, that's okay. Okay, Loretta, unfortunately, we've come to the end of the show, sweetie, so I'm going to have to leave it there. But I wish you and your family well. So it's always interesting when we've got family crises, and this is one of the things that I was talking about with the Mars conjunct Mercury. We need to be very careful at how we handle conversations at the moment. It's a very, very tricky situation, and sometimes, the trickiest situations are with family, unfortunately. And, we don't always have the opportunity to see things the way that we want to. Families, have different ways of looking at things. And if we were all the same, life would be very boring. But my heart goes out to both of these ladies. They're both going through different crises at the moment. They both sort of feel as if their backs up against it. With Eileen, she's got her health issues, and with Loretta, she's got her issues with the family and not seeing her granddaughter and not having a close relationship with her daughter. And it's really difficult when we need to sort of try and sort through those difficult relationships. So interestingly enough, as I say each week, the song of the week that I pick is either something that's been going through my head or something that jumps out at me. There's many different varied reasons at why I picked the song of the week. And today here in Australia, it's only early morning here, when I first got up to get ready for the show, this particular song kept going through my head, and I thought, and it wouldn't let me go, and I thought, well, okay, that's got to be the song of the week. Interestingly enough, it's called You and Me Against the World, and this is what I feel these two ladies are feeling at the moment, that they feel that they are going against, it's you and me against the world, that everything's tough and they don't know what to do. There's many different versions of this song, and I know my producer would be thinking I'm going to say Helen Reddy, but I'm not. I'm going to say Gladys Knight and the Pips. That was the first version that I ever heard, and I thought it was very soulful and very powerful, and it was one of those songs that, even over the years, I haven't been able to sort of get out of my head. Both ladies did a beautiful version of this, but this week I'm going to leave you with Gladys's version, You and Me Against the World. So until next week, bye for now.